Afternoon and welcome back. You're watching Closing Trades on ET. Now let's get a deep dive into the markets now, and obviously joining in with us we have Kunal, Bothra as well as Nooresh, Merani as well. Good afternoon to both of you all as well, gentlemen. Markets not doing anything exciting. Nifty 19,269 is what it is at, but a lot of volume buzzers that are happening in trade as well. Look at Escorts Kubota. That is we're seeing hit a record high intraday levels is what you're seeing coming in, over 60% up move in the last 5 months as well, where we've seen. Other than that, India Bulls Housing, that's an interesting name over there as well. We're seeing a breakout from the downward sloping channel that is shaping, as well as volumes are at over 2 times the 20-day average as well. But obviously, other than that, Electra Green Tech is also there, snapping its 3-day losing streak. But let's go across to Vamakshi, who's here with us, actually to talk to us about what is happening in India Bulls. What's the buzz around this one?
Actually, before that, I'd just like to add that this is a stock, just to caveat, any of our viewers should not, we are looking at this stock only because of the incremental news flow which has come in last evening, and on the back of that, the way stock is behaving. Because it is a risky stock, it is a stock which has actually seen a lot of damage on the price front. There is a lot of news flow which comes around. So be careful. It also, is it in, Kunal, is it in
F&O ban?
Yeah,
it is.
It is also in F&O ban. So be careful. So with this caveat, let's understand first what is the news flow and then we'll discuss. Mamashi, tell us what exactly is the trigger behind this kind of move and buzz in India Bulls.
Well, yes, India Bulls Housing is in focus today. The stock is soaring away in the trading session today, and that is after the company has announced that they have repaid nearly $275 million. That is about 2,230 odd crores worth of dollar-denominated ECBs. And with this, they have repaid all of the over $3 billion worth of senior foreign currency debt in the last few years. Now, from here on, their debt repayments are only expected to be around 400 crores per month, and this will be more than comfortably covered by the repayment from the loan portfolio. Now, as at the end of the current quarter, their borrowings will be down to nearly 36,000 crores, and the net debt to equity will be 1.8 times. So, all in all, a positive set of factors that have come in for India Bulls Housing Finance as far as their debt is concerned. Apart from that, the company will also be focusing on growth from now onwards. Now, all of the excess collection over the debt repayments as well as the incremental borrowings will be now available for the company for asset growth. In fact, they have been building capacity in anticipation of funding headroom opening up, and in fact, they're expecting to accelerate their dispersals from around 600 crores per month to 1,200 crores per month. So definitely they're looking at doubling their disbursement momentum. Apart from that, the company has highlighted is that the phase of book consolidation is now behind them, and from Q3 onwards, steady AUM growth is what they're anticipating. Not just that, they are also on par to approach steady growth in the profitability as well as a mid-teen ROE by FY26. So all in all, given the debt repayment as well as the company's renewed focus on growth, we have India Bulls Housing in focus today.
All right, so this is the caveat, this is the news, and Kunal and Nooresh both are here with us. Nooresh, you've seen the good days of India Bulls. Remember 1500 plus, then it went to below 100, if I'm not wrong, sorry. And now there are some indications, early indications that a resurrection appears to be at play and led by some large shareholders in the company. And also there is news that, of course, the earlier promoters have reduced their stake to minimal shed 1% maybe with this. So what do the charts tell you for India Bull Housing?
So if you look at the charts, it made a bottom around closer to 90 odd levels back in March of 2020. It made the same lows in May, June of 2022, as well as in April 2023. So the base is very clear. We made a very strong base at 90. In the interim, in the last 1 year, the top was around closer to 155 to 160. And after making a breakout about those levels, it has now started making a base around 155. The recent highs are at 170, 172. So this is a classical formation of bottoming out, wherein the stock first goes up 50-100% from the bottom and starts making a turnaround. So in this case, it could go, the biggest upside surprise could be, it could go all the way to 220 to 250 again, which is where it topped out in 2022, where there was a big block, promoter block. And the only problem with the stock is it keeps going into derivative band in and out. So as of now, the OI is closer to 80.23%. So should be out on Monday or ideally on Monday and maybe most probably by Tuesday out of the derivative band. could see some more speculative action. But if somebody has the say a capacity to keep a stop loss below 158, the stock is a buy at current levels and could rally up to 220 also.
Right. Kunal, what's your view on Indiabulls Housing Finance? How are you looking at it as well?
Yeah, most of the factors like what Nooresh highlighted, the stock is a very high beta stock. It's very volatile, goes into the F&O ban. So just to give you an example, I think Delta Corp was one of the similar stocks which went to an F&O ban time and again. The stock rallied, many a times 200, 220, 230. There were multiple rallies for the stock, but then the stock was unable to sustain, and you've seen what's happened to the stock price. I would be a bit wary into venturing into Indiabulls Housing in terms of a trade at current levels, even though the chart patterns look a lot more attractive at current juncture than what it has been maybe over the last 5-6 years for Indiabulls Housing. I think for them, the beta of the stock has to slow down, has to drop down significantly for these stocks to sustain an uptrend. If you have gyrations of 8-10% odd on a regular basis for these stocks, on the upside you may be happy that the stock is up 8 or 10%, but on the downside, exiting the stock becomes a lot more difficult.
Right. Kunal, I just want to pick out a couple of names that are actually coming in. And I know you do have, we've spoken about ABFRL before. And now, there's Shopper Stop or something like a Trend. Today, see the pressure coming in. Yes, Reliance Retail has come out with a new value-added chain as well. And because of that, we're seeing pressure on the stocks. Plus, Shopper Stop has the MD resignation. Is that something that is changing the pattern in overall this textile side, or these names that we see coming in the retail side, or is that just a one-off situation that we're seeing?
That's a very interesting question. I strongly believe that many of these stocks have started to show signs of change of trend for themselves. Shopper Stop, for example, the stock had done exceptionally well. You look at the last, 3 years, 2019, the stock was almost at 105 rupees. Went up to as much as 800 very recently, and it's now corrected very swiftly towards 700 mark. So yes, there is a decisive change of trend. We all know what's happened to ABFRL. I think 350 was the high previous year for the stock. It fell down to as much as 180, 185 levels, and is now just hovering around the 200 mark plus or minus 15-20 rupees for itself. So yes, the stock should also take a lot of time to get into any kind of a major recovery. The concern for the charts which are emerging now is on trend. Now I understand that it's one of the best performing stock so far from the space in the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years as well. But now the indicators are seemingly extremely overbought on trend as well. So I would probably expect that there is a decisive change of trend, and I think traders, investors who've been holding on to long positions, good time for them to book out sizable profits.
So maybe a bit of a change in terms of trends coming in for retail as well. Nooresh, when I was looking at today Nifty Pharma, we'd seen that run up coming in, and approximately I think 5 weeks consecutively we've seen Nifty Pharma, 5-6 weeks that it managed to actually close in the green, and just the last week and even this week seems like it's going to be closing in the red. What is your view on the Nifty Pharma? Is that is that something like a trend change, or what should we be viewing for Nifty Pharma?
So in the last few months, it has been one of the best performing index. And going forward, because it has performed really well, there could be a pause. What we've seen over the last 2 weeks is a correction. Say the index went from 12,000 back in May all the way to 15,700, the Nifty Pharma index. And we've corrected, we've started making the first, say a reversal. So out there could be some more downside towards 14,700 odd levels. And that is the time where you want to look at a re-entry in some of the pharma names. So the structure is positive. It's just that the index is back to the prices where it was back in 2021. And some of the names like Sun Pharma and Dr. Reddy's, which are the largest weights, have come back to major resistances. So Sun Pharma was at 1100, 1200 back in 2015. That is the price it has come back after 8 years. So some bit of a pause in these names would be logical. So expecting some bit of a pause. Same is the case with the Dr. Reddy's. The stock has come back to 6,000. The last time it was at 5,600 was in 2021. So expecting some bit of a pause across the larger pharma names.
Some bit of a pause there. But Nooresh, what are your closing trade picks then?
So that would be a buy on Bandhan Bank. The stock has made a good base around 220 levels. And the recent highs of 232, 235 have been crossed, showing relative strength over the last 3 sessions. This could be a candidate which could eventually go towards 270 plus levels.
And
Kunal, what is your pick? I think there's a sell coming in today.
Well, yes, we need a sell on Apollo Tyres. Now the stock has already corrected some 40 rupees odd from the last 3 weeks high. But the weakness is still persisting for the stock, forming a bearish flag pattern on the daily charts. So would expect the stock to correct even further from current levels of 390 approximately.
Okay, those were Kunal and Nooresh's picks. But on that note, viewers, we're going to sip into a very short break. And as we go into the break, from Maharashtrian thalis to South Indian comfort food, we went on a food journey in Pune to bring you an array of flavors that define the city. We went up with the Idli Wale is one of such places that combines the tradition and modernity on every plate that is there. Let's take a look at that and come back after this break.